So I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity, Regina for calling me here, and the JPR Institute to have us all here. So it's been a fantastic morning. I've heard many speakers today, and I'll try my best to actually keep it short and sweet, and then so it's easy for everyone to follow. So the topic that was given was, like unknown frontiers, and the person who was earlier had introduced me about, like my experience and so on. I'd probably want to just quickly touch upon a little bit because, like it'll give you a background about why I'm going to be talking about unknown frontiers and what we're doing. So I was born and brought up in Chennai. So I was from Besanagar. I studied in Ethraj College, and I was an IT professional initially, and then after that I went into financial services. So I've been working in London, New York, Switzerland, and New York as well, and which is Singapore as well, and many other countries as well. And I've worked across financial services. So I worked in investment banking, wealth management, asset management, risk management, and so on. So I have a very good career, and COVID changed my life. And I actually thought that, like I didn't want to stay outside India anymore, and I wanted to come back here to do something. So when I came here, like I really have started this app. But today I want to talk to you about unknown frontiers. So I want to talk about it in two fronts. One is as a corporate employee when I was working in financial services, all those 25 years that I had, what were the unknown frontiers that I actually was dealing with, and how did I actually face those challenges and what it actually means. And the second part is me coming back to India and trying to actually be an entrepreneur here in a completely different domain in media services, and how I can actually, the challenges that I'm facing, the successes that I have, and how we are able to actually move forward. So you'll be able to relate as students in terms of, how to deal with these things, because you can either choose a corporate life or a entrepreneur life. So with financial services, one of the major things that we had was that I did mention that I worked in different divisions across different countries. So when you start your career in the corporate world, like what normally happens is people these days, when I'm seeing younger children that are actually there, people are actually moving from one place to the other, particularly in Asia, not just only in India, but also, like other parts of Asia as well. People are within the first 1 year or 2 years, they want to actually switch jobs and actually go to the next one. They're probably driven with titles. They're probably driven with remuneration or compensation in terms of, I get a 50% hike in my salary, so I want to just go to the next one, and I get the next one, and so on. So what actually happens is that, like they all become jack of all arts and master of none. So one of the major things that I've actually learned in my career is that even though you're actually trying to grow and learn about multiple things, it's easier for you to build your strengths. So when you're moving from one place to the other, then you want to actually say that, you want to hone your skill sets together. And you want to say that, like at least 40% or 60% of my skills should be actually used, at least in the initial days, so that you are trying to actually learn about something new or go into some other place from an area of expertise. So you're not just a new person who's going in. You have to be able to set yourself for success, not for failure. When you jump too quickly, then it becomes very difficult. So the whole concept of trying to actually be grounded in whichever part of society that you're trying to do, whether you're in IT, whether you're in engineering, you're in AI, or even a farming, and like what he was saying, he has to actually learn about the first job very well before he actually looks at the next element that's actually coming up. So unknown frontiers are always going to be there in every part of the world. Like it could be language issues that you actually have, cultural issues that you actually have, new technologies that are actually constantly evolving. You have to use your base and your strength as one element, have a learning curve so that you can move to the next space that's there. So I'll talk about, like coming back to India and, like starting this. So that's after 26 years of financial services, asset management and everything else. Came back here to India to actually start media services. To be fair, I've watched all popular movies not all popular movies, very popular movies. My exposure to media related people is very, very small. So when I first started the Kin as an application, it's a media platform, it's a social media platform. It was really scary, you know. So, but the thing that I could actually think about was the experience that I had in running multiple global organizations. So I've actually been head of data and data strategy for Credit Suisse for about 16 years. So I actually have defined regulators, you know, like I've defined how people can make, you know, like use data to their competitive advantage and move forward and so on. So that was my skill set that I actually had. When dealing with media, I needed to actually have a number of people with me. So people was my first skill, you know, like requirement that I had. So I've been trying to actually build a team today. And today we actually have 123, you know, like employees in our organization, and we're actually coming forward. So I think this is something that Vanita had spoken about earlier as well, in terms of trying to actually speak to a number of people to make sure that you're able to discuss your issues that you actually have and trying to see how this can actually be overcome. I should also talk about the reasons as to, you know, like why I actually created Kin as well. So when we started looking at these elements, so how we went about doing this was that looking at facts. Some of the facts that you actually have is that, you know, today in Chennai or in India, you have more than 1 billion smartphone users, right? So everyone are actually using smartphones today. And after COVID, everyone really knows how to do a WhatsApp, how to watch a YouTube video, how to actually make that. And with cities that you actually have that are actually growing out, Chennai, when I was there, stopped with Tiruvamur. Today I'm here in JPR, which is, you know, like very far off. It would have been considered a very, very different place. So cities with the, I think 6 out of 15 cities, growing cities, are in India. So that means there is a big cultural change that's actually happening. People are actually coming into the city. And there are lots of elements, you know, like whether you're talking about big businesses or small businesses, everyone's actually moving down to the suburbs. So earlier you used to have, there's only one Nalli and one Kumran. And there'll be only one place where you go and actually one Satyam theatre that was there. Now PVR is there everywhere for you to actually go and watch. So the cities are actually becoming bigger and suburbs are actually becoming more and more accessible to people, and people want to actually stay in those neighborhoods. I can't actually stay in Tiruvamur and say that I want to go to Ananagar to watch a movie, right? So it's going to take about 2 hours for me to go there and come. So this is the concept that we actually have, that people living in that place should actually understand what is actually going on. So support your vision that you actually have in terms of what you're trying to actually create, and decide how is it that, you know, like you're going to actually serve the community. Particularly if you're an entrepreneur, then you need to actually start thinking about these things. The other major element is, you know, like also talking about the younger generations which are actually moving forward. So as an entrepreneur, or as you're actually building your vision and your product, there is one main element that you need to keep. In my case, I wanted to make sure that I'm actually creating self-sustaining micro markets that are there. So that means that people in Adyar should be able to come into the app to actually create a marketplace where they come in and actually say they want to know information, they want to know what are the events that are there, the local free events, the paid events, who's singing in the local resto bar or restaurants that are there, who's doing a quiz competition and so on. You want to know who are the local people who are actually selling products. There are so many young entrepreneurs who are there, homemakers who are there, who are trying to actually embark on creating their own businesses. You could be a sari blouse stitching person, or somebody who's making millet urundais, or even serving the same murungakira that Krishna was talking about, right? So they need to find a market. And my thing was, if there are people who are already coming into the platform to know that, is my electricity, TNEB working today, or the current cut's going to happen then? Or if they wanted to actually find out about the events, they'll also know about the same murungakira and the millet urundais that are there, right? So that is what we actually call a micro market economy. So when we are actually creating it, so as a, you know, like when I said unknown frontier, and my vision is very clear in terms of what I want to create, how I want to create with all those 123 people. Each one of them is actually going to have their own views on how they actually get to it. Right? So you have to be willing to learn. So I have to listen to Hari, who tells me, like how to actually do a sales in the media space. I have to actually listen to Lavina to say, how am I able to communicate this to different people? So trying to actually, understand and give people the space to help you to actually set your vision is also something that anyone should actually have. And the other piece that I always think is that, every person, we have a motto in our office: build fast, fail fast, recover fast. So these are three things that you actually have to do. In this world, digital world that we live in, we all have to actually be able to be very nimble, very agile, so we're able to learn from our mistakes. We will make mistakes, you will have small failures that are there, but you don't need to actually uh, accept it, and you don't need to actually be bogged down with it. So Martin Luther King actually said, accept finite disappointment, but never give up infinite hope. So every person, when you're looking at an unknown frontiers, everyone will come across certain things that are unknown. So you want to be very clear about your vision. You want to actually be very clear about your assumptions, so that your friends and people who are supporting in your businesses or your ventures or your work are aware of it and the risks that you're taking, so that it becomes a shared effort and you're able to actually move forward. This is how I've actually been successful. And as students of the college, as you guys are growing up, I'm sure that, you'll have many more opportunities to actually see how you can work for your skills and work through your strengths that are there, learn from your mistakes, and see how you can actually move forward. So I'd like to actually thank everyone for this opportunity. And it's been a fantastic, day today, listening to all the speakers. So thank you again. With more than, I think, 7 lakhs, but it's 9 lakhs people that we have in Chennai, with more than 75,000 active users every day. So it's been a fantastic journey. So everything that I said about Unknown Frontiers has worked for me in busting people, having a vision, and building fast, failing fast, and building fast. So I hope you will try some of this book as well, and it's been good for you to actually consider how this can actually happen in your own lives. That's it. Thanks.